making galleries online, right? And there are membership that they can sign into, right? And I am not an exception. I am adult content creator. I'm a photographer who is working in London and making different kind of photography for adults. And that includes dress photography, semi-nude photography, explicit photography, and make love scenarios, right? Make love scenarios. And I'm 20 years in adult business, and over those years, I have created a lot of different kind of interesting content. And today's topic is about adult galleries and about memberships, right? Memberships. The membership is a subject that I'm very interesting to talk about, because more than a year ago I did a test adult gallery, okay, and I never promoted or advertised that topic, but there were a lot of people who sign in because they would want to see behind the scenes what's happening in a photography studio, a creative studio who creates intimate content, erotic content. And today I will be talking about what you will see in erotic galleries. Okay, I call it Eros gallery. In reality, there is a word sex, art gallery, right? And why I'm making these galleries is most of the time because you see, adult would like to see how the others are doing it. If the couple will contact me about erotic photo shoot, they are interested to look at the other couples and see what they've created. Okay? So from the one side, it's like personal development content, right? Because variety relationship has a different intimacy, right? Different people create different fantasies, right? And what my studio makes is exactly that. Different fantasies, not the same ones, right? And I have a variety of content to show. And of course, everything is in archives at the moment, but I have done a test gallery, and put a lot of testing content, right? And I had 1,000 subscribers, and I've realized that this is very important for people to see other perspective than watching porn, okay? Because where we can see people creating fantasies and people posting online is only on porn channels, right? Most of the time. So my perspective, in terms of corn, I think this is useful. Okay, I think it's good that we have this type of channels. There is maybe less rape and other kind of scenarios, and of course, young generation has somewhere to turn to. Okay, to see more exciting and more different content. Like I say, they care what others doing. Okay, they care how others doing. Okay, they care what is going on, what is new. And what is interesting with people is this, that you see, they want more and more extreme content, okay, more hardcore content. When I spoke with my subscribers, right, they want more erotic fantasies like threesomes, okay, they want more cuckold fantasy shoots, they want more, okay. So today we are exposed to intimacy, and we are exposed to different kind of adventures, and we become desensitized. That's the word. Okay. So before we were very sensitive to any kind of nudity, showing little bit of a shoulder has been already wow, sexy, nah? Now at the moment, people, want to push boundaries, right? Push the limits and explore more. Okay. And that exploration, of course, starts from visual content, viewing someone, okay, watching someone, right? And online galleries, sex galleries, art galleries, intimate galleries provide specifically that, okay. And at my studio, I create, you see, with people who are not adult workers, okay? There is two types of people. The first type, adults who actually do business with their content. Yeah, they create intimacy for a reason, to become famous and popular and to make money, right? And this related to men, female, and couples, right? But there is another type of humanity, other type of people who have certain issues. You know, they wanna experiment, they wanna explore, they wanna find a novelty, they wanna find the spark. You know, and some of them even solving, you know, confident issues, right? Intimate issues, right? So this is the place when you can have a certain transformation when you create erotic photography, okay, with the professional, right? So let me discuss about memberships to Eros galleries, because I have posted a blog on my website and I'm making this explanation video because people start signing in, okay, and they signing in and they do not realize what's happening, okay. So the first, of course, people sign in and it will be like a waiting list, okay. Waiting list till I will load galleries to the point that it's ready, okay. And I am moving my galleries to Telegram channel, okay. Before it was on the website and it was a preview show experience, right? And I think that Telegram, it's a social app, and when it's social, you see, we can communicate. You can give me a feedback. You actually can put a thumbs up and say this is very hot, and you can say no, no, I don't like this. This is too boring or too soft or too vanilla or whatever, and we can have a conversation. Okay, so that is something exciting for me, which I believe it's amazing, right? Going in terms of Telegram, I'm quite new to this channel, so I can tell you the layout is very basic. Okay, so I have just topics layout in a different way, like for example, woman, men, couples, threesomes, cocoa fantasy, fetish, videos, gifts, right? This is type of content which I'm going to display and show to my public, right, who wants to sign in. And that is related to real intimacy, okay. And what I'm saying is the real intimacy, why it is different. You see, when people create corn, right, if people create corn, most of the time it's not real feelings, okay. Most of the time people are strangers. They do not have a real connection. They do not have you know, the base, right? The love, the long-term relationships. Okay, they don't know each other. So in corn, the creative motives are quite different. And when I'm shooting content for corn, for me it's a different story as well. Okay, just people behind the scenes, they don't see it, okay. It looks from one side because this is a movie and this is close up, and you know, they do certain scenes and maybe acting out and so on, and it looks intense from the side. You know, for you maybe it looks, you know, good and stimulating, right? But when you're shooting it in real life, okay, it is not the same like shooting a couple who has a connection, okay, who has a chemistry, who has these things, you know, figure it out, and they're together developing, you know, going into deeper passion, into, you know, into a different realm, you know, into they want kind of a different climax together, right? So it's different. So let me just tell you that corn, in one way, they desensitize arousal, okay, because they see a lot of content straight away, and different kind of content, and it's most of the time extreme content needed to actually reach that stimulation, right? And that's what I've noticed. Okay, that's what I've noticed. The friskier, the riskier I put stuff out there, the more you know, stars I get, right? So I have some public channel, okay, on Telegram, and I post some content. Of course, I cannot post nudity, otherwise I will be blocked, like, you know, on normal any other channel, right? But I'm going the ways around it, and I'm showing quite erotic stuff, right? Quite erotic. I'm not able to post anything like that anywhere else, right? So that's why I chose Telegram, because I think this is more appropriate for me, right? So when members would go and register on my website on the blog, of course I would have their emails, and when the gallery will be opened and ready, I will give them an update and I will give them a shout. Okay, so that's the whole thing, right? When talking about adult galleries and what will be in there, I have a list of topics which I want to discuss, right? And mutual enthusiasm and consent is one of the things, okay, that real couples actually practice, okay, when they creative together and they create make love scenarios, they communicate, okay. When you create corn, consent is not really important. Actually, it is more stimulating when there is no consent, yes or no? Okay, it's more an animalistic representation, I would believe, right? When I create erotica photography and videos with couples here who are in a relationship, married or partners, right? They do look for pleasure and they do look for comfort. Okay, they don't look for become famous or make money from this adventure or from this experience, right? They look for how to say novelty, right? Everything what's on the edge, okay? Because then it makes them stimulated. It makes them how to say more connected. So intimate part, right? It's always the part when I'm filming or when I'm shooting. So in my galleries, there is no videos where couple are talking together, or preparing very much together. There will be something, but usually it's an action. Okay, so photography or photography galleries that will be in my Eros Eros membership gallery is going to be about the action. And action starts when there is a foreplay begins, right? And then a hardcore and a climax, right? So most of the time this type of content, right? So this is all about stimulation and different kind of stimulation, right? So there will be parts when, of course, communication there will be, available, right? And sometimes it's the biggest turn on when you do not see how the couple is communicating, but you see how they're just doing things, right? And that's what will be there. Like behind the scenes, there will be a topic, okay, where maybe couples are preparing very short if my members would like to see that, but most of the time I'm preparing the most interesting parts, right? When the things are happening, right? Desire, bodies collide, right? And usually, I would say this is a standard session when it comes to couples, normal couples, right? But when it comes to creating erotic fantasies and when we invite models, that's, I think, when it gets more interesting, right? When there is a threesome, or there is a couple fantasy, right? That's probably the most maybe interesting content, and maybe fetish BDSM, right? If someone want to watch that, right? So this type of content which will be available. Of course, I shoot models as well, right? Because glamour models is these are the people who are in escort in adult business and they need portfolios. So I will be presenting these models as well because sometimes they joining us for a photo shoots, right? So sexual curiosity is healthy, right? And that is something what I'm promoting with my galleries, right? That it's okay to be interested in those things if you are an adult, right? And of course, it can be a powerful resource for people who want to learn or find new things, right? And experiment during their intimacy, right? And understanding a different kind of pleasures, right? Because when you see, you better understand the things, right? So you would see how people are touching, how people are dressing, how people are pacing, and how people are, switching positions. That's kind of a situation in these galleries, right? Okay, then preferences, because people have different ideas, different wearing different outfits, okay, and of course with the preferences, we can say that, of course, different fantasies, okay. You would think that everyone is doing things, right? Just doing things, right? And that's an option. There will be some couples who will be just doing things, okay, but there are some couples who are seriously want to push the limits. Okay, and that's where it gets exciting, because not everyone is the same, right? So variety is normal, okay, and that's what you would see when you look at erotic galleries, because that's where the adults explore their sexuality in a different way, okay, in a different way. So it's okay to have a desires, right? Because you see, when I'm talking very often on my lives, I say it is very hard to desire someone you already have. Okay, and that's why adult experience, adult games, role play scenarios are so much important when people understand the value. Okay, when they change, when they pace, when they play with each other, right? That's the whole thing during the photo shoot, right? To move and create something new. Okay, so looking looking at my artwork, very often people are confused because they think this is a corn channel, right? This is a corn channel. But when they would go into the whole photo shoot, okay, and then they see where people started and at what level, at what energy level they are, and how the shoot is escalating, I think they would understand more what's happening with the whole personality, adult person, right? Or is it an individual, it's a woman, or is it a guy, or is it a couple? Because you see, when you're presenting few pictures, people get confused, okay, but when they see the whole shoot in a progression, okay, when people are stiff, closed, frozen, maybe awkward, right, and then they're trying and doing all kind of things, you understand that this is possible, right? It's possible for everyone. The problem with corn is always unrealistic expectations, okay, because in corn people change bodies, people change their faces, people change their everything, you know, they wanna stand out, they wanna attract your attention. That's why these exception bodies are welcome, and that's where you will see them specifically, right? No one wants to see someone normal, okay, because they get bored of this most of the time, right? So that's what I'm saying. The corn always goes, you know, higher and higher and gets more, like it gets heavily curated with time. Okay, before we watch corn, it was one content, and now, you know, there are different types of corn, and sometimes it's not even looking healthy, to be fair, right? So when I'm shooting my content, okay, these are normal people most of the time, right? So it's going to be slightly different, right? It's a normal bodies, normal shapes, normal, you know, appearance, and of course, no, normal fantasies, right? What is maybe what maybe attracts to corn is an illusion, okay, illusion and expectations, right? Because women are always wanting and always willing, okay, and guys, they are always staying hard, okay, and always also wanted, right? So that's, it can lead to different kind of anxieties, because in a normal way, okay, when there are, I'm speaking with the guys here, and when they start to compare themselves with these people who perform corn, right, they how to say, they get into shame, into kind of an anxiety. I'm not a superhero, or I'm not that big, or you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna last that long, and so on. That's kind of a things that I can hear. And psychologically, you see, there are weak people who can actually fall into some kind of libido issues, you know, or erection issues, right? With watching this type of porn. So my situation and my memberships will show like absolutely normal performances, okay? Seriously, like normal people, right? So that would be a difference, right? Let me just say quickly, quickly hi, hello here. Today's topic, I'm discussing my adult galleries that I'm going to open and that I'm working on, and I am presenting some information, what will be there included and what they will see, right? So you can ask me questions about erotic photography, erotic videos while I'm on live, and when I do the break, I will answer to the questions if you have any, right? And let me just quickly scroll and say hello. Whenever me as what I like the what you like. Hello, 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 Julia. You never posted your Telegram. Did I not post it? I think I did. Okay. Well, there are things happening. Okay, but what will happen now is that I will be more on my website and on my galleries, and I will be doing more posts. Okay, and I will stop these lives. Okay, because I already had enough of content created. So you will see those posts. Don't worry, it will come up. Okay, it will come up. Good afternoon. I'm sorry, I think I popped into the wrong thing. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Don't be sorry. Okay, and what is this there? Mike Hong. What is that? Okay, my stunning. Instead of 1 to 10, you are way beyond. Okay, that's an interesting compliment. It's like eating in and out. It's like eating. Well, eating, yes, you know, before eating or the food, okay, was just a fuel, okay, and now we made the food sexy, okay, that's how we developed very quickly, right? We have sexy drinks, we have sexy dishes, and in general, we associate a certain foods with love, for example, like chocolate, right, or strawberries, or champagne, right? This type of attributes represent certain things, what relates, right? Relationship to love, to being sexy, right? So food is one of the things that people get addicted to, okay? It's our addiction, and some people overconsume because they, you know, there are different kind of addictions. They prefer not to do intimacy, but stay next to the fridge. You know, everyone choosing what they're good at. Okay, but yes, food developed as well. Okay, have you ever gotten aroused watching any of the couples you shoot, Julia? That's a good question, because I can tell you at the beginning, okay, it wasn't easy for me in general. Okay, there were really good couples, right? But I can tell you, I'm 20 years in adult business. I'm 20 years watching. Okay, so I am kind of like immune. Okay, because I'm on the different wave length, right? I'm not that concentrated. But how I see this, I very much appreciate that they come to show their love. Okay, because this is something what is very rare to see, you know. I grew up in an environment where I have not seen many really happy couples. Okay, people were just fighting and living together because it was easier to survive like this. Okay, and they were or separating or hanging on or cheating or whatever, right? And I could count on, you know, on my hand, one hand fingers, okay, how many couples I've seen, right? And starting shooting erotic photography, I've seen loads more. I wanted to analyze them. I wanted to feel their energy, and I want to understand, okay? Because for me, it's exceptional when people are such a long time together, and they treat each other like they just met, like they're just few years. And then I ask them how long you are together, and they say we are 20 years together, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like seriously, like it's surprising, you know. So I think that real professional choosing their profession in terms of what they're missing in life, okay, or what they want to learn, or what problems they want to resolve, okay. So for me, it was a very big thing, okay, people and deep relationship, because it is a myth. uh, I believe now it's a myth that relationship can be just, you know, for a few years. It's a true story that people now have many relationships through their lifetime, 5 and 6, right? It's not anymore love for life, okay? It's more like uh, one partner per, you know, per one time, okay? That kind of a situation, right? So our life shifted very much, right? But what I'm talking about is about intimacy and creativity during intimacy, right? Okay, it's about sexual energy, it's about the levels, how to raise them, how to connect, how to reach certain heights, okay, and how to be together, you know, the way they are. So when you see those amples, okay, when you see those amples, that's why, you know, I am learning. That's why I'm gonna be sharing this content so that you can learn, okay, because all the photography and videos, they preserve energy, and you could feel and see for yourself, okay. It is a different information coming from them, okay. It's just how to say, it's they they define by the intuition. And intuition for me is the highest intellect when you start using it, because they intuitively feel and know what the other partner wants and needs, and how deep and how much, okay, and how hard, okay. There is a totally different communication there, okay. And I love when there is no communication and they know, okay. So I have different couples met. I have met different couples through the years, okay. And you see, real connection needs an experiment, needs a novelty, okay. Why erotica is good about this? Because it's a rebel energy, because something what is very familiar and very known dies, and then something new has a new way to come up into your life, okay. And people, you see, even sometimes they stay for one person, with a one person 40 years, they can tell later that they have 4 different relationships, or or like relationship with 4 different people, because we evolve and we grow, okay, and we change, right? And if we incorporate creativity through erotica, then intimacy is still there. Then you still want it. Then you're still interested. Okay? Then you are heard. Okay? And you are seen. Okay? And you are attentive. Okay? There are many things in there. Okay? And it's different than corn. Okay, shooting these people, it is different than corn. That's why I think the reason why I want to create these galleries, okay, maybe there will be not many couples left, okay. From the way we live now, okay, maybe it's gonna be okay, like you know, to find a dinosaur, you know, situation. Who knows how it's gonna be in the future, right? So, coming back to your questions, do I get aroused? I can tell you that during the shoot, I am very much focused. It is very intense. Okay, I don't have time, because at my shoot, like I am by myself, right? I do not have assistants, a lot of assistants who can help me. So imagine that one person, okay, preparing the couple, okay, deciding the styling and dressing and helping. Then setting up the scenes, the backgrounds, the lights. Okay, then setting up the camera, shooting with the photography, right? With photo camera, shooting with the video camera, right? And then directing, and then it's a lot of information to take on. And because of this information, I'm too much focused. You see, when people are coming, right, or creating a certain content to the climax, it's not that you can say, you know what, it didn't happen, let's repeat again. It's not that situation. You know, it's like a wedding. Okay, when you create wedding photography, people getting married. Okay, you will not gonna make another, you know, wedding event because you failed it. So erotic photo shoots and erotic photography or video sessions are made in a very similar way, okay? Because when you shoot weddings, you memorize every moment, okay, step by step, what is happening in this wedding, because that is important, okay? It's like analysis of a situation, right? And then you shoot every moment or try to cover every moment during that growing into a make love scenario, because it's different couples start differently, okay, then progress differently, then go into make love scenes differently, okay, then they have different variety of, you know, posing and ideas and one experiment and stuff. Everything is different. So I am shooting a lot of content, okay, and I'm concentrated on what I'm doing, because like I say, it's a wedding. Okay, and the wedding finished, it's finished. That's the content you make. You're not gonna invite all the guests again. Okay, so I never had a successful shoot, but that is why, because I'm extremely focused. I'm thinking about next step. When I'm shooting this scene, I'm already thinking what is gonna be next, because in my head I already have a movie scenario, you know? Like one frame, the other frame, the third frame, you know, it's different. People think that I have, you know, nothing to think about, maybe sitting there smoking and then, you know, doing something. It's, you know, when you do not understand and never done a creative work, it is maybe, how to say, hard to imagine. But the pressure is on, okay, because people usually travel to the studio, they hire a hotel, they stay there, and they arrive to your place to shoot, you know, a certain scenario. If I miss or if I fail, then they would have to travel again, you see. It's not straightforward. So I'm very much focused and concerned, you know, and in my head it's just boiling one information, how to create an amazing shoot and even better than I did previously. Okay. So I always updating myself. I'm beating myself, okay, with every time, getting greater and greater, better and better. So that's the situation when I am creating. Okay, but when it comes to editing post production, then yes, there was a time when I could not edit because I got too much aroused. I couldn't, you know, and that is why it's so hard to find these editors. That is another problem why my galleries are on hold. Okay, it was on hold because I broke my arm and I couldn't work on the computer for a month. Okay, and the second of all, you see, videos, it's okay. You can find someone to edit videos, but to edit photography, explicit photography, seriously, you know, they don't know how. People getting turned on and aroused during the shoot, and they're just making some nonsense. They're changing my artwork to the point that it's unrecognizable, and everyone wants to know to change and do something special, or then editing and doing nothing. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not straightforward. It's not something that, you know, other people, when you do an editing project, will do, right? It's a naked and explicit photography, and you need to understand the art, how the art made. If you're just an editor, they don't understand this. Okay, so it's not straightforward to find someone. I'm doing it by myself. That's why I need to, how to say, and it's a big job. You know, it's a big job to create and open the galleries. Okay, so this is something what I'm going to dedicate myself to. Okay. And that's why I opened membership signups, so that the more people will sign up, the faster I will do it. Okay, that's the thing. It also uh, push me push me forward. Okay, so that's how it is. But yeah, editing, it's hard for young men, especially. That's why I'm never hiring young people. I have one girl, one girl, young editor. Surprisingly, she's tough. Okay, but to find people like that, you have to try maybe 100 editors. Okay, so I've already spent a lot of time looking for editors. Okay, and it's not like they're spoiling, but it's just, especially when I do every shoot differently and every scene I light differently. When you go to the studio creates a content where there is all pictures are the same. And when they do speak with the editors, right? That the pictures are more or less similar. For editors, it's very easy to edit. But when the photographer I consider myself an artist. I make art, and every set that I do is a different lighting, it's a different camera settings, everything different. It's too much for them. They do not understand. Okay, so only I can edit really, or I need to find someone very special. Some very special with like seriously open-minded position there, okay, so that they would understand. They would not look at to this coochie, but they would understand the whole picture. You know what I'm saying? So if you are the editor like that, get in touch. Okay, get in touch. I need seriously experienced people for editing intimacy. Okay, editing like really intimate stuff. Okay, because in the reality, you don't need much editing there. You just need to understand how to do it. So yeah, I taught myself, and it wasn't easy. Okay, it wasn't easy. Imagine sitting and leaving, sitting and leaving, sitting and leaving. You just sit down to edit, open few pictures, and you can't do anymore. It's just like you can't. It's not straightforward something. When it comes to sexuality and intimacy, especially when editors have no wife or have no intimate life. For them it's a torture. Okay, and they take this file for weeks and weeks, and it's not complete. I can tell you, editing is not easy. For me, shooting it's okay because I get used to. I seriously, it's been such a long time, and I get used to already. And like I say, because I have a medical background, okay, and I worked with people undressing all the time, so I'm absolutely cool about that. Creating, when I'm focused, I do not even see what I create. Only when I edit, and then I'm like, that kind of a situation. Thank you for this question. I like that. Okay, that's exactly how it is. Where are you from? I am from Lithuania. Madame Blavatsky. No idea who is that madame. Send me picture. Erotic photography discussion. Yes. Photography discussion. And this discussion is about adult galleries. And I am talking about what will be there. Okay. What I am shooting. And how is it maybe different to corn. Okay. Because seriously, people contact me and they would say, I want to shoot corn. Okay. Because that's how they see it. They do not even know that there is an erotica. They do not even know that there is a part of photography, erotica, that it's available for them. They just say, I want to shoot corn. you know? So probably that's what I'm doing, because I believe that this is more educational than corn. Okay? When you see real people, real relationship and real feelings. Okay? And based on that, intimacy is created. Okay, it's not based on money making. Okay, it's a different energy in general, right? So like I say, corn is it become it become important part for younger generations, because that's where they go and that's where they release themselves and get information. Corn, of course, misses a lot of emotional connection and foreplay. Corn provides a lot of fantasy scenarios where people can, get their adventures from, and of course, it does not involve most of the time real people with real relationship, right? It involves imaginary situations and escorts or adult workers who create for you fantasy scenarios, right? So what is maybe different now in corn? Maybe it's more aggression. Before it was maybe more normal and more standard situations because there was no nudity. Right now it's different kind of presentations and become more aggressive, and of course, like I say, maybe it looks very much pleasurable, but actually sometimes it's not even comfortable for them to do such a long time. Okay, it's hard, and if you would see everything how it is behind the scene, you would understand. Okay, yeah, so it's different. You see why I'm saying it's different? Because when we watch the movie, okay, it creates an illusion for us that they make love. But in the reality, we know that these actors did not have any intimate intercourse, right? But it creates an illusion, right? So this is something what is interesting, okay? Interesting about fantasy, interesting about imagination, okay? Interesting about creating this illusion, okay? And how to say, I'm that person who sometimes creates that illusion too, because there are couples who want to create a fantasy and they do not want to get involved for real with the model. Okay, they just want to play out these scenes and act out the ideas that it would look like they did something. Okay, and that's okay, right? Different people want different things. Okay, potentially corn is really helpful, okay, because like I say, in some places or in some countries there will be maybe more rape situations, if there will be no channels like that. Okay, so I'm never against these things. Okay, people are adults and they are allowed to do whatever they want. Okay, sell their bodies, take the money, okay, do whatever they want, seriously, just because they adults, you know? So, if I would talk about if I would talk about my galleries, which I want to go closer to the end, is this: that at the moment I am a midway, right? I'm a midway, and there is a lot of things left to create. Okay, and I'm inviting people to join my Telegram channel and to join my waiting list. Okay, waiting list, because I cannot wait to start communicating, and presenting my art. Okay, and I'm going to make previews visually. I'm just thinking how to do it in the screen so that you would see a certain artwork that I've already done. Of course, when I go live, I would not be able to display anything extra intimate or extra sexual or anything undressed. Okay, because I would be straight away banned, like like anywhere else. Okay, but that would be my goal, to stop chit-chatting to the screen and with the simple background. Okay, but have my artwork behind me somewhere, going on the computer or something. So that's the short presentations I will start doing for you. Okay, when I start pumping content to my galleries. Okay, so thank you so much for being here and watching this. Okay, talking about my galleries, you see, it's the thing. You know, every artist has to go through some kind of a phase. They always want to make things perfect. Want to there is this guy who helping me to do these galleries, and he said, Julie, it's enough content, it's ready, it's done. And I'm like, no, you don't say me when it's done, it's not done. Maybe I'm having this perfection things, right? But I imagine it's in a different way. So I'm saying it's halfway done, and I cannot wait to share with you, of course. Okay, so thank you for staying with me today. Can you do it a long time? Can I do it a long time? What is the question about? Is it about photo shoot? Can I do it a long time? Yes, I can do a photo shoot long time. Okay, I can do 6 hours photo shoot. Okay. In 6 hours, I can shoot a lot of stuff. Okay, that's a long photo shoot, believe me. Okay, in 1 hour, I can do a lot. In 1 hour, I can do a lot. So long time. I do not like long photo shoots. Okay, because I create too many content. Okay, I do not like long photo shoots. I like standard photo shoots. But usually photographers shoots 1 hour, 2 hours, half day or a full day. Okay, depending on the event. Sometimes there are more days event. That's depending. So I don't know what you mean about long time can I do. Foreplay, foreplay, foreplay. I am down. You down. Explicit photography challenges. Okay, okay. Send me a picture. Like I said, I'm going to display some boudoir photography, right? Something classical. What will be allowed, maybe. Okay, on next live. So I'm see you next time. I'm just checking if I have any questions more. Yes, almost everyone I know is getting divorced, and I am 31. It is rare to see love last long nowadays. Yes, because people, you see why that is. Okay, people never discuss this. Okay, they never been trained to have a relationship. Okay, what we've been taught is to get a job. Okay, to get a degree, a profession, and to get a job. Okay, that's what we've been taught, right? But in the reality, okay, we need a relationship education. Okay, and adults have just one type of relationship. Okay, and this is an intimate relationship. And I don't mean that you have to do things all the time. Okay, but I mean that you maintain that intimacy with your partner. Okay, because when you stop being intimate with each other, right, then you are at risk. Okay, at risk. And I've seen couples who arrive to the studio and they wanna revive their connection with erotic photo shoot, with this sexy adventure. And it is possible, but it is quite long and it is quite hard and exhausting for me. Okay, because one part is not interested, or both parts are not sure. Okay, so the photo shoot itself in this situation will do one very important thing for this couple. Okay, who are, because sometimes you are very close with each other and you need to take, like a distance to see each other, right? And when you do a photo shoot, there is that photographer who take a distance and show how you are together. Okay, that photographer does the job for you. Okay, and that means is that when you are intimate, when you are together, you are clearly know then when you see the artwork. Are you really meant to be together? Are you really excited? Are you really value this connection? Are you really respect that person to the point that you're gonna change, okay, and do something? Because you see, when people have sexual energy, and sexual energy is a creative energy, okay, it's initiate the change in your relationship, and everyone who goes through the change, right, it becomes new. Okay, that's why when old relationship gets boring or dull or stale, people are looking for a new person. They do not looking for a change, okay, and then start a fresh new with the same person. It's very rare, okay. But when it happens, you can see that people, you see, people are in evolution. They grow together or they grow apart, and then they start looking for someone else, then they meet someone else, and then they repeat the same cycle. And that's why that's what's happening, okay? Because no one is explaining and educating young generation what it is a relationship and how to maintain it, okay? When children goes to nursery or they go to school, they play games, okay? When children become adults, they stop playing games, you know? And I think the most interesting game what adults can play is love, right? Through intimacy, okay? So when there is a new connection, people are very much interested to explore, and then later they do not understand, they don't know. They don't know what to do next, right? And when there are some issues and there is some stress and there is some routine life, okay, they forget what is important, okay? They forget what is important. That's why I see myself, you see, displaying a very interesting content in art form, okay, for adults who have a special connection, and for the other adults who are looking to see that special connection, okay? Because when you see it, it's easy to recognize that it's true. We are wired in the way that we can recognize authentic energies, right? And when couple is real, it is an authentic, okay? So yes, so someone has to do this, someone has to show, and I am on my mission. You see, when I'm talking about erotica, I'm really enjoying sharing this with you, okay? And it wasn't like this, believe me. For a really long time, I was embarrassed of what I'm doing, okay? I was embarrassed and I was maybe ashamed even, okay? It's just something what I grown up with, okay? That was the normal situation when it comes to intimacy. And I can tell you that people who are embarrassed, people who are shy, people who feel guilt, people who are, feel shame, they cannot vibrate in a certain connection, in a certain energy, and create those sustainable relationships, okay? Because adults, they don't feel such energy, okay? So that is where the distraction comes, okay? When adults become children, okay? You know? And that's what happens with majority, of couples, right? So when you come back to an adult life, okay, then you want intimacy again. When you go back into blame and being a victim and guilt and all this type of negative energies, okay, that's where the relationship fall apart. So I believe that erotica and intimate connection is that base that can strengthen relationship no matter what will happen to them. Okay, in this routine life, right? So thank you so much for sharing because I can relate. Okay, I am older than you. Okay, but I have not seen many examples either. Okay. So when I started shooting erotica, these couples start finding me, okay, and coming to me, okay, and that was the moment when I worked with them. I knew I'm making art straight away because it's going to be like special, right, and unique every time. Okay, fish, nets, and chokers and whips. Yes, these are the props that we usually use, and the couples bring with them. But studio also has fish nets and chokers and different kind of props and toys to play with, right? That's why they created there. Okay. Okay, 21 new message. Let me just check that. Let's make content together. Okay, let's make content together. Let's play me and you. Okay, let's play me and you. Do you think that I've created a business just for that reason that I can play with you? Okay. You see, there are, and that's again, this is what corn does. Okay, when men see that someone is talking about something intimate, right, or someone is looking in a certain way, they straight away think that this is corn, okay, and this is an escort, okay, and people are selling their bodies, right? That's what is going on, and I don't blame them, okay, because majority of young generation, young girls, they don't want to be, doctors. They want to be prostitutes, okay, because it's paid and it's straight away, and it's cash in hand, okay. So I don't blame them. But you know what happens when everyone, on every channel try to make money with their bodies, normal people, you see. They have no place anymore, right? Okay, so yeah, so that's the thing. I happen to, receive a lot of such invitations. Okay, in general, people that are so blinded that then when they see my avatar on WhatsApp, when they discuss, or on Telegram, when they discuss erotic photo shoot, they say, yes, I'm coming to have an erotic video with you, with you, yes, I'm gonna pay any money with you, like, that's the thing. Okay, and that's the situation nowadays. Okay, and I said that, I did not see in any photographer's description that the photographer has to have sex with the client, you know because in any other professional description that is not included, except if you are a prostitute, right? That's a norm. You sleep with the client. That's the description. But they apply this job description now to everyone, you see. And you don't know. The fact is that, in London there is a very big percentage of escort. A huge. So you even don't know. You think that every not ugly girl is an escort, right? And every not ugly guy is an escort. It's dangerous life at the moment we're living. Seriously. So that's the thing. Okay, thank you that you agree. Okay. Okay, thank you that you agree. Enjoy it. What Yulik? Yulik, what is Yulik? Relationship from a few months ago. Relationship from a few months ago. I missed maybe your message previous, so that I will know. That is so true. You should have been a couples therapy counselor. Maybe you could have saved my last. Now I can tell you this. Inevitable. What's happened is happened, and I would suggest you to think this way. It's for good. Okay, some relationship have to end so that people would grow. Okay, we're choosing people for one and simple reason. Our eyes cannot see us. Our eyes is out. Okay, when the horse is running, they put in these doors, okay, for the horse to run straight, okay, for one single reason, because if it will have it open, it would not go straight, it would go everywhere, right? So the human eyes, they can also look everywhere, but the reason why they cannot see themselves is because it's coming out, and the only reflection that they can see themselves, it's a mirror, it's a water, right, lake or river, and it's another person. Okay, so that's why we have to be with someone to see and grow within us. Okay, so sometimes, and this is a part of evolution, sometimes we send with people just to grow, and we know that these people are there for that reason, to give you lessons so that you can see yourself and get better at being you. Okay, so every relationship is like this, it's improving you. Okay, If the woman and man have to be together because they create a crisis, and only in crisis you evolve and you grow. You do not grow in a comfort, and you do not grow in a cozy situation. Erotica is also creating a crisis because erotica is an unknown. Okay, when people give themselves to a passion and a desire and they lose themselves and they do not recognize themselves anymore, what they're doing, how they're doing. You know, that is a real feeling. That is the place where you're growing. Okay, because only there you can discover new things about your partner. Okay, if you do the same things, you would end up in the same orgasm. But orgasm is that thing that it has to, you know, it has a lot of variations and it has to get better and better. Yeah? Then the relationship is great. Okay? So when it comes to past relationship, I would always suggest to say thank you to that person who invested time in you, okay, who invested effort, right, and showed you a better part of yourself. Now you are ready to meet someone else, okay, because you are perfect, okay, you've been improved, you've been re-edited, you've been updated, okay, and you're perfect, right? When it comes to creating, I have to say, a change, right? A change. You need to take an action. I have a very clear understanding where you come from about couples therapy. I can tell you this: the couples therapy is not successful because there will be no so many breakups. Okay, yes or no? 80% of married people, maybe exaggerating, maybe it's 70, depending on which country, right? But they separating, they splitting up, okay? And now it came to the point that they're not marrying at all, okay? Because they don't want, they know they're gonna split up now, okay? It's a very high likability, so they are not even going there, okay? And because women now progress to the point that they don't want to be together, they can make money and they can support themselves and survive now, okay, before they couldn't, right? So they were attached to men, and now they feel more freedom, so men are even more now inclined to try their hardest and to win that woman and to, you know, to bring things to the table, right? And that crisis is more brighter, right? But the crisis, like I say, brings development and brings growth to a human mind and a human race. Okay, corn was created to avoid the crisis. Okay, corn was created with the boys who was scared and who was how to say, afraid of rejection. So they created these ladies, okay, who are constantly horny, constantly willing, wanting intimacy, and who don't care who is there and what he's been done, or they don't care. Okay, that kind of a situation. It's like, you know, woman on drugs. Okay, you put woman on drugs, right? Then you can do whatever, right? That kind of a situation. It happened to me during the shoot, okay, when the husband really wants to create a great content, especially with the young couples. So they drug their wives, so that their wife, you know, she will be relaxed. And this is something what I can recognize. I do not recommend, okay, and I do not agree, do not approve, okay. But that's the thing, right? So when it comes to couples therapy or going to some counseling sessions, the reason why it's not working because there is no action taking. Okay, erotic and erotic photo shoot is an action taking process. Okay, you can't create an erotic photography without an action. Okay, you can't make a photography when people are sitting and talking. It's not possible, right? There is no erotica when people are sitting and talking. They have to lift their bum up undress in front of the camera and do things, okay? And do things. And when they do things, they experience a lot of emotions. They experience a lot of blocks, insecurities. They're overcome this together. And that is the glue base for them. It's a new basement, it's a new beginning. Okay? And that's why it's more even effective than the therapy with some kind of professional when you will speak and then do nothing. Okay, and everything will be the same. Okay, that's why it's not effective. Okay, because there is no real action in there. Okay. Okay. Enjoy. Okay, let me just quickly verify this, and I'm about to finish. Thank you so much. It's like you said, a lot of emotion go into, but corn gives you a certain kind of ecstasy, but there is nothing like human touch relationship. You are so right. Corn give you ecstasy and no one is touching you. You know, and that's the, you know, how to say, that's the game, okay? To keep you, this is the matrix, okay? And I'm talking about this matrix. Corn is the matrix. It's absorbs a lot of energy from you. It takes your attention. You are captivated and maybe stimulated for a certain time, but you are not doing anything about it. Okay, you think that you have a relationship and intimacy, but no one is there with you. No one is touching you. Okay, and there is no emotional connection. Okay, and soon their AI girls will come. You can have a date with them and go, you know, and have maybe um, a family together. Okay, but there will be no one there. Okay, just someone on the screen. So that's the thing, and some things will never change, but our mind is very easily tricked, okay, and hooked up on this, okay, seriously. So I promote a real connection, okay, like real human, okay, like real touch, okay, like real kiss, okay, like real orgasm, not by yourself, okay, mutual, yeah, mutual satisfaction. Okay, I know us men like we want all the woman we can. We go to corn and we can look up any kind of woman. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you live in your fantasy world. Okay, because in the real life, you will be blocked and you will not be able to do that. So you would stay better in your private fantasy in your private life and not live for real. Okay, that's why the corn is created to keep you there. That's why social media is created to keep a lot of lonely single souls just browsing and searching. Okay, not going and living their lives. Okay, but caring and interested very much about the others. Okay, you know why they interested in others? Because their life is boring. There is nothing, you know, vibrant and alive in there. Okay, they living a dead life, you know, so they better be interested. I want to change this, you know. I believe that my artwork has a special energy that can change these blocks. Okay, people get addicted to the social media and addicted to corn and just stay by themselves, and it's year after year and they enjoy this. Okay, and they do not realize eventually they maybe feel bored, you know, and lonely, but they can put on another channel, and like you say, it's gonna be another girl in there, okay? And this will never end till you will get old and die, okay? And who is using your energy? You think about that. Who is using your sexual energy? Matrix. Matrix is using the energy that you are producing. Are you putting this energy into relationship? Are you putting this energy into a climax with someone? Are you putting this energy into money? You wasting it. The matrix taking all of it from you. What you produce. What they do is they stimulate you, okay? And then they feed with you. You are a horde, you know? There are animals, okay, that we, for example, people eat meat, right? They grow animals, okay? And then they kill them and then they eat them, right? I like barbecue, okay? And then they do not realize, but the same happening with the humanity, but on an energetical level. You've been put on this planet and you've been, grown here. And then you've been given, you live in this matrix, you've been given all of this where your energy can be taken. Okay? And you think this is an entertainment. But you do not have an energy, sustaining energy to go and start a relationship. Like a new, like a real, You would rather stay and watch the screen because you do not have enough energy resources been taken from you. And then you load every morning to the same game and playing this game again and again till you leave this planet. Okay. I think today's youth is missing all that, or they're missing more than that. Okay, intense. But in person, the emotion, the nerves, the excitement, the smells, the touch, it's so different and more. It's good that you understand. Of course, it is different will be when you will be with the person. What I am saying here, translating about photography and videos for adults, that is totally different to create content for porn and to create content for a couple who is in a hot sexy relationship. It is two different things energetically and including smells and any kind of a thing. Seriously. Okay? This is just different. You know? I can't even get into the room sometimes. It's just so strong, like too much. Okay? Right? So that's how the humans can do it, right? I know. Okay. I love you so much. Beautiful, exotic. Thank you. It's like you said, a lot of emotion going to. Yes. But corn gives you a certain kind of ecstasy, but there is nothing like human. Been that. America is like 60% divorce rate. Yes, yes, divorce rate. It's not only that divorce rate is high, loneliness rate is very high. Okay? People do not understand how to raise their sexual interest, sexual energy, how to use it, and how to connect with other people. Okay? Because they do not have, enough energy. They rather stay at home and chill and watch corn or watch another series, an entertainment that is produced by the Matrix. Okay, they're not living their own life, they're watching others, you know, or some kind of a bubble operas. Okay, I feel like she was immature most of the time, and I put up with it with her, and she wouldn't listen. Okay, we're coming back to that point when someone broke up with in their relationship. And then I'm getting a description that she was immature. In the reality is this, okay, and I can tell you this. Yes, you can say this is this way, but I can say this from the other perspective, right? Children invite children to play. Okay? When children start playing with their parents, okay, this is a mommy and daddy issues, right? Or you understand what I'm saying, right? It's a different situation, right? So thinking about what was your last relationship, it's up to you. okay, to get a lesson out of it. Okay, most of the time, you know, you get the lesson you appreciate for that, what the life gave you. Okay, this is, you know, this is the game that you played, right? Now you see what you gonna get next. Okay, that's how it is. That's what's interesting in life, to live it, right? Thank you so much for being here. 7 messages. I hope I respond to everything. A good therapy session, Julia. Thanks for your advice. Okay, yes, Lotta, I agree between your work and porn. Okay, thank you for agreeing. Thank you for staying with me. I've enjoyed chatting with you, and like I say, I will be coming live, and my life will be quite short. Okay, because I will be making erotic galleries now. I will concentrate on that topic of making website and making galleries, and I shall give you updates of what's going on, and I hope I'm gonna see most of you on my Telegram channel if you want to chat and know more information about erotica and about adult art. Okay, and otherwise saying thank you and enjoy your evening. It's quite late now in London, so love you, kiss you, mean it. Bye.